Hello everyone, good morning and how are you? My name is Sarah Marie A. Alanano, but you can call me Teacher Sarah. In this lesson, we will be discussing about Chapter 3. But before we go on with our discussion, I want everyone to please stand up and raise their hands because we are going to shake them. Shake, 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 and shake your bodies. Alright, now that we are all energized for today's lesson, I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the lesson. And hopefully at the end of the lesson, we will all have an idea on what Chapter 3 is all about. Thank you so much.
Hello once again everyone. So now let us tackle what Chapter 3 is about. That this is entitled School as a Vehicle for Social Mobility. All throughout this lesson, we will find out how school has become a vehicle for the learners to become a social mobility in our community. Now, before that, I have here a quote that is the epitome of what our lesson would be. So this quote is very connected to our lesson. And this quote goes, "It takes a village to raise a child." So this is an old African adage that I'm pretty sure all teachers from young to old and also the aspiring teachers know about. Now, in you personally, how can you adapt to this code? How can you resonate with this code? Because if you ask me how I can resonate this code, I feel like this code means that as a teacher, you are not alone in teaching the child, but also the community as well. Because again, a child can learn a lot in the classroom, but they can learn more outside the classroom, outside the four walls. And the community is a big help in how they can mold the child into becoming a social nobility for our community. Because then again, what Rizal told us, ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. So that means the community will help build and mold the child into becoming a better person for the community. Now, that being said, let us go on with our lesson. Now, social mobility also comes from, especially for learners, can be applied to transformative education. So when the learner is outside the classroom walls, this can be called as transformative education. Now, what is transformative education? We have here an educational process that is beyond the four walls of the classroom, meaning it is outside the classroom walls. So, here are the essentials for transformative education. These are the important things that we need to remember. The first one is they must be anchored on the country's educational goals. Now, according to Article 15 in 1987 Constitution, that is stated that the state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible. So what does this mean? This means that from even the oldest person or the youngest person has access to quality education, meaning you being a teacher, you need to present yourself as a person that students can be admired. Students will admire you. And also, for you, you need to be inside the classroom and be prepared of whatever situation or whatever lesson that you have. You cannot go into the classroom without being prepared because again, it states here that all citizens are qualified to quality education at all levels. So meaning if you are in elementary, you are in high school, or even in college, all students require to have access to quality education. So that is the first essential that we need to remember. The second one is you must be functional. Learning experience must be relevant and meaningful. Teacher must be transparent and realistic. So then again, what I said, if you're gonna be a teacher, you need to relate your lessons into the outside world. So it must be relevant and meaningful as well, so that the students can relate and apply your lessons outside the four walls in the class. Outside the classroom. So it needs to be relevant and meaningful. And you as a teacher, you also need to be realistic and transparent to the students about the reality, right? Yeah, so we teachers need to be transparent and realistic in order for the children to be more adaptive outside the real world. The third essential is they must settle for quality. So don't settle for less, everyone. Never settle for less and always aim for quality. As what stated here, the teacher should be the epitome of setting the tone of excellence. So every time that we go inside the classroom, we need to set an expectation and a high standards for the learners and especially to yourself. So we also need to reflect on ourselves to become the best teacher that we can be. We are not the best, but we can be better. No one is perfect, everyone, but we can always strive to become better, especially for the learners because they deserve more. And also the last one is let the learners go out of the box, meaning let them experience, let them do their own thing, let them be independent. Don't always spoon feed them. Di ba? Don't always spoon feed them and let them experience things because experience is the best teacher, especially for young learners, di ba? I'm pretty sure all teachers would say the same thing because experience really is a big help, especially to young learners. And lastly, we must build upon the identity of the learner as a unique individual. We must encourage the learners to go on against all odds, meaning you're not only there to teach the children, but you're also there to encourage them and to motivate them to become better, not for themselves, but also for the society. And with that, we need to encourage them as much as possible. And if ever like they feel down or they're not motivated enough or they have issues or whatever they're dealing with, you need to be the person that they can open up to. You need to be that type of teacher that they are comfortable to open up to and that they are not scared to tell you what's going on in their life. Because with that, if the children are comfortable talking to you and opening up to you, that means that you can be the person that will encourage them to move on against all odds. So you must be, as a teacher, you really need to have uh, you need to really have a lot of things going on in your life. You really need to be, you're not just a teacher, but also a therapist and especially a mother. And with that, I would like to thank everyone for watching my lecture discussion on chapter 3. And thank you so much for listening. I hope at the end of this video, you will put into heart and to your minds what are the essentials of transformative education. Thank you so much for listening. Again, this is Star Marie A. Alanano, but you can call me Teacher Sarah. Bye!
Good day, everyone. I am January Aramolano, and I will discuss about the social psychological model and the study of behaviors and attitudes with school. Now, let us learn about the social psychological model. How does a student learn socially via the school influence? So let us take a look at this model, which we call the social psychological model. So this will help us shed light that social learning teaches learners to make their presence felt as a societal and global citizen. School acts as a social learning lab where students develop crucial social skills and understanding through various influences. Here's how. Students learn socially via school influence through direct interaction and implicit learning. Direct interaction includes learners interacting with peers from diverse backgrounds. This said participation includes group work and discussion, such as brainstorming, debating, and sharing ideas, which expose students to diverse perspectives and hone communication, collaboration, and critical thinking skills. Role-playing and simulation help students enact real-world scenarios, where they learn to practice empathy, conflict resolution, and leadership in a safe environment. Team sports and club are also collaborative activities that foster teamwork, sportsmanship, and social bonding.
while teaching cooperation and discipline, as well as through implicit learning, which includes observing school norms and values, and as well as the school policies and procedures. The school provides development of values and attitude and skills and competencies through meaningful social participation. And we can see that this said participation does not only base on via classroom participation alone, but the entire school culture and atmosphere, which bring holistic and integrated change in the learner's behavior. I hope that you were able to stay on track with our discussion. Now let us discuss about the study of behaviors and attitudes in school. So they use the theory of planned behavior, which is the most widely used in applied behavior theories. This theory adopts a cognitive approach to explaining behavior, focusing on individuals' attitudes and beliefs. Seen on the diagram is on the left side are the components which affects the intention and behavior of a learner. Attitude toward the behavior simply means the student's personal evaluation of a specific behavior. For example, a learner might believe studying is boring, which is a negative attitude, or see it as a valuable for learning, or a positive attitude. Subjective norm is a social pressure exerted on an individual. For example, a learner might feel pressured to engage in academic dishonesty if their friends do so, which is a negative norm, and feel motivated to study hard if parents emphasize academic achievement, which is a positive norm. Perceived behavioral control is the perceived ease or difficulty with which the individual will be able to perform or carry out the behavior. So by combining these three factors, the planned behavior predicts a student's behavioral intention, their willingness and commitment to engage in a specific behavior like attending class, studying for a test, or participating actively. So this intention, in turn, significantly influences the likelihood of the actual behavior occurring. So to fully understand the planned behavior, let's use the example of a pupil named Sarah and her attitude towards participating in class discussions. Based on these factors, Sarah's intention to participate will be higher in a safe and encouraging environment. Conversely, if she feels pressured or unprepared, her intention will likely be lower. And because of that, Sarah may now actively participate in a discussion, contributing her insights and learning effectively. So, the theory of planned behavior helps us understand what and who influences students' intentions and their behavior in the school setting. So the key is to identify the relevant attitudes, norms, and control beliefs that influence the desired behavior, and then we develop strategies to teach them effectively. I hope you were able to understand how a student learns socially via the school influence.
Good day everyone, I am Krista K. Espayos and I will continue to discuss the student's motivation. According to Meltzer 2002, he pointed out that one of the most difficult and challenging aspects of teaching is how to motivate your students. So as a future educator, once our student enter the classroom, we need to make sure that they are motivated to learn, participate in the class, and collaborate with their peers. Because through this enables them to learn effectively and efficiently. Once the student is not motivated to learn, it may hinder the active participation within the classroom. So if the student's attention is not on the lesson, it causes boredom, or they will do something that is not related to the lesson, just like talking to their classmates, or worst of all, it resort to disruptive and overly aggressive behavior that could bother the other student who are willing to learn. So as a teacher, it is a big challenge for us because actually this student has a difficulty in learning and engaging. So they need a special attention from us, and we need to monitor these students for them to not be left out, and also to
make the learning be meaningful and effective within the classroom. So next, motivated students are more excited to learn and participate actively in the different classroom activities. So of course, those students who are motivated to learn find the learning as enjoyable and fun. So there are some students who are self-motivated with a natural love of learning, and their eagerness to learn is in the high capacity. Next, the school's role as an agent of change will be better understood as it meets the need to motivate the students in developing good working relationships with the internal and external communities through the teacher's guide and efforts. As a future educator, we need to make sure that our students are motivated to learn, and also the learning that they have gained in the classroom or in the school can be implemented at home or even in the community, that enables them to become a good citizen and to have a better future that awaits them. So that's the end of my report, and the other part of the lesson will be discussed by Mr. Joshua E. Kahula. Thank you for watching and listening.
Maffei of 2015 cited that the subcultures are those groups of values and norms that are distinct from those held by the majority. Culture is what makes up a society's expression, both through material things and belief. Example of a culture as a whole include things like language, ideological values, gender rules, social conventions, religion, or artistic expression. For the language, for example, as a Filipino, our cultural language is of course, wikang Filipino. So that is our culture as a Filipino. Mangilinan of 2015 cited that there is a need to reshape the curriculum so that it can be culturally responsive to the background of students. Hence, the school must see to it that the students adopt a cultural not so distant from their heritage, so that as they practice it, their roots will still be evident until the culture they acquired from the school becomes a habit. Such habit must be capable of helping them to be transformed and productive citizens of the whole world. Now let's proceed to the development of normative systems within school. Hess of 2014 cited that every school has a culture that distinguishes it from others. As universal recognized, a culture is that informal code of behavior that dictates how things really happen around here versus what should happen. It is this informal or normative culture that ultimately defines how effective administrators and faculty will be in addressing bullying and other student-related issues. As a future teacher, some issues are systematic in nature and beyond one's span of control, no matter how efficient and competent a teacher is. However, some situations inside the classroom that can be controlled or sometimes seem to be beyond control is what happens in the classroom. This is the hard reality which every teacher should squarely confront with. Could it be because the traditionally teachers are trying to teach and not deal with behavior? To answer this question, realistically and practically, the school must have a direct hand in providing teachers a framework of activities that will address the students' negative behavior in a more humane and caring manner. In so doing, the teacher will affect a change that is positive, meaningful, and sustainable both in the areas of academic and behavioral performance.